Just a friendly reminder, there is no eating, drinking, smoking, or vaping on the boat, as well as I ask that you please remain seated with your arms and legs well within the boat at all times. Today we'll be seeing a variety of primates and birds from around the world. During the winter months, these primates are housed in heated barns on the property as they are quite sensitive to the cold. Unfortunately, the survival of many animals, especially the primates, is threatened by widespread habitat destruction, hunting, and the rapid acceleration of human encroachment on their remaining habitats. If this trend continues, it may only be through responsible and cooperative captive breeding efforts that some species will ultimately survive. So please keep this in mind as we tour around the lake and view a variety of different species. Now, I'm sure the most exciting animal you've seen today is on the island to our right-hand side, and it is the Canada goose. They're easily recognized by their brown body plumage, black head and neck, and prominent white cheek patch, and they are the most common type of goose in North America. So believe it or not, they're not actually property of African lion safari, but we do have about 100 breeding pairs and their offspring that return to the park each year after wintering in their nesting grounds in the southern United States. So I'm sure you've seen a lot of them as you've traveled around the park today.
Oh.
Now, if our Canada geese didn't quite tickle your fancy, perhaps our ring-tailed lemurs will. If you look on the island to our right-hand side, just underneath the bush, you'll notice a couple sitting in the shade. And you'll also notice another one sitting on top of the structure just behind that little white house.
There's a lemur.
Ring-tailed lemurs are found only on the island of Madagascar, and they are one of the most striking in the lemur species. They have a very long black and white barred tail that they hold aloft in an S-shaped curve while they walk. The tail usually has between 14 and 16 stripes, but it always ends in a black tip.
From Madagascar.
They also do spend a lot of their time traveling along the ground in groups of about 10 to 30 individuals. They're actually very female-dominated.
Yeah. What the song I like to move it, move it.
Their legs are also considerably longer than their arms are, and this enables them to leap about 9.5 feet vertically in a single bound.
Wow.
If you look very closely at the one sitting up by that little white house, you will notice we do have a couple of baby lemurs. We've had 3 baby ring-tailed lemurs born in the last month or so, and they are quite small and difficult to spot, have been known to live as long as 30 years. They're just at that tree. You'll notice our friend Bieber, the black-handed spider monkey, coming to say hello to you. We do have a second spider monkey as well who is completely black, and he is our robust black spider monkey called Flip. And Flip can be a little bit difficult to spot sometimes as he does act like a bit of a shadow, but keep your eyes peeled for him. Now, both of our spider monkeys have specially adapted for life in the trees. They have very long, slender limbs and a prehensile tail that acts as a fifth limb. Their prehensile tail actually is a hairless patch of skin with grooves near the tip that acts like a fingerprint and also enhances their ability to grasp at branches. Their hands also lack thumbs, and this allows them to move through the trees with speed and agility while in search of their diet of fruits and leaves. Spider monkeys are found throughout Mexico, Panama, and Ecuador, and should they choose to display themselves in an aggressive manner, they can actually make the hairs on their neck, shoulders, and tail base stand up, which makes them appear larger in size. And maybe Bieber will give you a little bit of an example of how he uses his tail. The deepest part right in the center is only about 6 or 7 feet, and when our staff come out to care for our primates, they do so in rowboats. The island that's to our right-hand side now is home to our black and white ruffed lemurs. And you'll notice one of them kind of sitting on that ledge by the shelter. Just give me a moment as I reposition you. Now, black and white ruffed lemurs are also found on the island of Madagascar, but only on the eastern coast. They're named for the long fur around their ears that form a sort of ruff around their faces. They often like to hang upside down by their feet in order to feed on their diet of fruit, seeds, leaves, and nectar. In the wild, they live in groups of about 5 to 16 individuals, and they're actually very territorial. We'll see if we can chase him as he runs around. They have a very loud alarm call that they'll utter if anything gets a little bit too close to them. They're also the largest type of lemur to regularly give birth to multiple infants, usually about 2 or 3 at a time. And the infants are immature at birth and unable to cling to their mothers, so they're often carried around by mouth or left in nests for the first 2 to 3 weeks of their lives. Finished. There we go. I'll tell you about that bird that you see sitting on the rock. That is our pink-backed pelican, Pinky. Pink-backed pelicans are the smallest, one of the smallest of the 8 pelican species, but they do have an impressive wingspan of about 8 feet. Their main diet consists of fish, and they usually fish in groups where they'll stretch out in a line surrounding a school of fish. All the pelicans will duck their heads in the water at the same time, which frightens and confuses the school, and then they scoop them up in their beak pouches, drain the water, and swallow the fish whole. Pink-backed pelicans have short but strong legs and 4 webbed toes, so they're also very good swimmers. And our friend Pinky over here swims to whatever island she so desires to spend the day on. Now, last but certainly not least, on the island to our right-hand side, you'll notice our 2 white-handed gibbons sitting on the structure. Gibbons are native to Southeast Asia, and they belong to a group of primates known as the lesser apes. They vary in color from light beige to black, with a white ring around their face along with white hands and feet. They also have hook-like hands, short thumbs, long arms, and compact bodies, but they don't have tails, so they've adapted quite differently from the spider monkeys, for example, to life in the trees. They also live in family groups consisting of a monogamous pair and their offspring, and the 2 that you see sitting there are our monogamous pair, Alfonso and Gina. They're famous for their great whooping call that they use as a territorial display, and both members of the pair participate in it. They do tend to stay up off of the ground, but when they do walk along the ground, they walk with their arms raised above their heads to help them balance, and they look a little bit silly when they do so. And they do get a bit of an example of how they climb as our friend scales the willow tree. And we are now approaching the end of our tour, and as we return to the docking area, I'll ask again that you please remain seated with your arms and legs well within the boat. Once the boat is securely in the dock, I will attach us and then open the gate, at which point you're free to stand and exit to the right-hand side. Now, this dock is a bump dock, which means that in order to dock, we do have to bump it a couple of times, so please keep a tight hold of any loose items or small children. Now, what happened before is when the boat is empty, sometimes it's a little back heavy, and we get a little bit caught on the front, but because the boat is full, I promise that won't happen this time. If you have any questions about the tour or safari in general, I'd be happy to try to answer those for you as you're exiting. And I'd like to thank you all for coming to African Lion Safari today, and I hope that you have a wild rest of your day here on safari. Now, I can promise you at least 2, probably 3 bumps, so don't be fooled by the first time you bump. Please wait to stand until the gate has been opened for you. There's our first phone.